I could say that my mom and dad, they never paid attention to me in the way that I felt I would deserve, so I declared war against the world.
Everything's shining. I can't say this is gonna happen for everybody that's clean.
Things that I didn't want to do, I had to do.
I can't believe we're here right now doing this. This is a big thing, man.
And so that's my biggest motivation right now, is just like seeing what I can do, like while being sober.
Or if I got to do whatever I got to do, like my life's got to change, like right now, you know.
My name is Manuel Mesa. I'm 46 years old. I was born at Paradise Valley Hospital, National City. I was raised in the house that my parents own to this day. It's in a residential area in Chula Vista, Castle Park. That's the high school I went to. I grew up in a pretty much, I mean, I didn't have a bad childhood. I mean, like when I talk to people about, you know, addiction, I say focus on the differences, right? I didn't come from a broken home. My dad was a provider. He worked night crew. My mom was in education. So, I mean, she basically, you know what I mean? Like we grew up in a pretty good, we had a pretty good family environment. Had both my grandparents present, aunts and uncles, you know, small tight-knit family. And yeah.
So when did you, talk about like your middle school days and going into high school?
Growing up, like, did you get into trouble?
Okay.
What kind of kid were you?
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so I went to the same elementary school, first preschool through 6th grade. So I mean, I knew like all the kids I went to school with, my parents I went to school with, like, you know what I mean? So it was like tight-knit community, you know what I mean? I didn't get into a lot of trouble. I was kind of like, I would say I was in the middle of the herd. I wasn't like the apex predator bully, but I was like, I got bullied and I bullied. So like I'm saying, I was like, you know what I mean? I stayed in the middle. So I got preyed on and people preyed on me. You know, a couple little altercations with kids here and there. You know what I mean? The typical stuff that, you know, kids get into. I was in GATE. Yeah. I don't know how that happened, but I was a GATE student, and I guess I could say I was sort of athletic. I started playing youth sports. I was a pretty decent ball player, but that all fell to the wayside when I got to junior high. My grandpa said that I got introduced to women, right? So I started chasing skirts. Yeah, I went to I think in middle school. I was like, did the whole like tagger thing, was trying to like find my identity. You know, I knew everybody. I was cool with everybody. I wasn't really like looking for trouble. I liked attention in the classroom. I would talk, get on the teacher's nerves and talk out of turn, and I guess cry for attention or something. ADHD now, it might have been undiagnosed. You know, so I found myself in the principal's office quite often when I was in junior high, and I graduated from middle school, and I was in honors classes actually in middle school. So, and then I went to high school, and then high school's like when like the pedal hits the metal, right? Like, oh man, like who am I gonna hang out with? Who's gonna like me? What am I, So I feel like right there, that was like the jumping off point for me as like my identity. Like, now I went from a kid so just to give you a little background on my ethnicity. So my last name is Acosta Mesa, which has nothing to do with any kind of, it's not Mexican at all. And this whole time I thought it was Mexican descent. It was Portuguese and Irish out of Mexico. I found out before my grandfather passed away that my great-great-grandfather was a Portuguese merchant, married an Irish immigrant, and they had my great-grandfather, who was blonde hair, blue eye, was fluent in Spanish, fluent in English, lived in Mexico, was coming to school over here in San Diego. San Diego High School, graduated, and became a translator for like the minery down there in Santa Rosa, Baja California. He married a Mexican woman, and out of that, they had my tata. So he was Portuguese, Irish, Mexican. That great grandfather of mine was assassinated in 1956, I believe. He was a journalist, and he was writing about the exploited women down there, the brothels. They made a movie about him. So you got that side of my dad's side, and then you got my mom's side, French, German, Japanese. So Japanese, I was like super stoked, right? Because I was like, dude, I'm probably like, my grandpa was like a ninja or something, right? And then like when I found out that he wasn't, I was like really disappointed, you know? And so when I got to like high school, you know, I look Hispanic, right? When I have the mustache, you know, like everyone thinks that I can roll my R's and I speak Spanish fluently. I don't. I never learned. So like, you know, you start hearing these kids, you know, talk about, you know, Asian kids like Chink and Gook and Jap, and I was ashamed of like my heritage. And then you got my great grandfather who was like this hero in Mexico because he was exploiting these. I'm not exploiting, but he was exposing these young underage girls, right, that were being like sex slaves. And you know, to me, I was like, oh, is he a snitch? He's a rat, you know what I'm saying? Like you start all this bullshit that we're fed. And so I was like I didn't really like to talk about like where I was from or who I was, right? So then I'm like, you know, I can't let these people know that what I am, you know. I was embarrassed, you know, for a very long time. So I get to high school, and like, dude, it's like musical chairs. Like I was like trying to like hang out with the party crews, trying to hang out. I was like, I don't really want to hang out with the jocks because I don't play sports. But I knew all of them. And then the ones that like accepted me right away was like the homies, right? And I mean, when you're begging for attention like that, you're basically at the you know, at their whatever they say, right? So I mean, yeah, I got punked. You know, I was the little puppy dog trying to follow, you know, the shadow and all that stuff. And you know, just hanging out with them came the drinking and the smoking the weed. Now, I mean, I would say like the whole addiction thing or the like getting away with stuff like happened like as a young boy. Like I remember going to like my dad's softball games. My dad played like softball, right? Men's softball on slow pitch. And dude, like there was no snack bars and shit like that, or he didn't freaking think about packing Gatorades and stuff like that. I was like, dude, like we're thirsty, dad. Like, here, drink the suds off my Budweiser. You know what I mean? That's something I'll never do today. Like, right? I'll never do that to my son because I know where it'll lead me. But he was doing the best that he could do. You know, he didn't know that I was gonna become a tweaker. You know, and so I say that, you know, sneaking his drinks while he was barbecuing. That was like the behavior, right? The sneaking is what can I get away with? You know, I want more, the adrenaline rush, you know, and then so just through high school was just like, so I was trying to find my identity. I found it with the homies. And then I wasn't like fully committed into like committing crimes and like getting into trouble. So like, you know, these guys would want to jump me in. And I was like, no, I'm cool just backing it up, you know. So I'm not committed because I knew like if I came home with like a gang name or something, or it's like my parents are my dad was gonna whoop my ass, you know. So and that happened. So in 1994, was at a ditch party, and remember it got cut short by one of the attendance guys. You know, they found out, you know, all these people are ditchy or they're absent. Oh shit, they're all part of a clique, you know. So after school, I was walking home, and altercation broke out between two rival gangs, and I was later apprehended. We all met at a designated spot, and everyone was like, you know, talking and what they did and whatnot. And remember, we went back to the neighborhood to go check on one of the older homies that got out, and boom, the chopper pulls up and the police cars, and like, boom, I'm 14 years old, surrounded by cops. They take all of us out, and I mean, they put us all in separate cars, and I mean, they started like asking, like, hey, was this guy at the scene? And when it was my turn, they said, hey, there's a guy at the scene, and they flashed the lights there was a witness down the street, and they were like, boom, boom. And I'm like, what does that mean? The cop said, you're fucked. And I was like, whoa. So I ended up going in for accessory to attempted murder. When they were documenting me as a gang member, they're like, what's your gang name? I'm like, I'm not from the gang, you know? So it was crazy because like, that's where like, I was like, damn, like shit got real, you know? And, you know, of course I kept my mouth shut. I did everything that, you know, they tell you to do. And my mom came down there and they're telling your son's, you know, accessory to attempted murder. And she was just like, just in tears, you know? And I was like, and so, I mean, I continued hanging out with those guys for about, you know, another year or so. But then like the guys that I was hanging out with, they were like on their way out. Like they were like down as homies, but they were kind of like, you know, like they weren't into all the mix, you know what I mean? They weren't like active, like out there doing crazy shit. So I kind of like just hung out with them for a little bit. And then, dude, it was like everything was just drinking, smoking, you know? And then just high school was just a big party, man. Like I was just getting fucked up. Like beer, and I didn't even like beer, but it was just like, oh, I want to be cool. Like I can chug. Yeah, I could chug. I could do cake stands. I'll drink more than you, and like never failed. Like I would suck them all up, and I'd be the first one to pass out. Fucking, you know, like alcohol poison. I mean, wake up in a puddle of vomit. You know, take off from whoever's house I crashed out at. Like just leave this pile of vomit there. Like, see, I'm out of here. You know, and then dude, like I'm like high school was a blur. Like I really don't remember. I don't have like a lot of memories. Like I know my life wasn't bad, but like it was just a blur, man. Like I was just getting by, you know. Like I did graduate by the skin of my teeth, and I remember like the chick I was dating at the time, she would like do my homework for me, you know. Like I had it that good. I was like, you know, and like I graduated like barely, like, and I went to summer school like every year to get extra credits, and I still barely like by the skin of my teeth, like I had one, like what do they call it, the mandatory, like it was physical science, and my teacher, he wanted to fail me because, so like going back to the guy that I fought in high school we talked about earlier. So when I played high school football my senior year, I was a tackling dummy, and like the coaches, they all knew who I was. Like they knew I was hung out with gang members and that, you know, I wasn't an athlete. So they kind of just like swept me under the rug. And so like it got to the point where like the last game I didn't get any play time. I started working. Like I started working at high school. Like I had a full-time job at McDonald's. And dude, I was like making good money. And I had so many credits accumulated that I didn't start class until like fourth period, and I was late every day because I was like closing up like the shop, right? And so like my teacher at the time was like, I needed that class to pass, and he was like, dude, you're on thin ice, bro. Like you got a D right now, bro. Like if you do not pass this class, you're not gonna walk. But I was a really good test taker, you know. So like I would retain all this information. I would like fucking ace on my tests and stuff, you know. Yeah. Like I mean, I remember going to math class. I was shit-faced drunk. And the teacher was like, what's the Pythagorean theorem or something? And I was like, a squared plus b squared, c squared. And he's like, okay, go ahead and like go back to sleep. Like I would come to class fucked up.
There was nothing that they could tell you.
But it's crazy now. I can't even remember like what the fuck I ate yesterday. Like it's crazy, you know?
What happened after high school?
So after high school, so McDonald's was my first job. I was working at like from January of my senior year till August post-graduation. So I graduated, and so I was working that job, and then at that time I got hired at the grocery store with my dad. My dad had a hookup. He knew one of the managers down at the store. It was, I don't remember, Lucky's? Yes. Before Albertsons? Yeah. Okay. So he was like, hey, I got a kid. My son just graduated from high school. He's looking for a job. So he's like, dude, we need a cardboard ripper. Cardboard ripper came in at 3 a.m. I freaking did that. Yeah. I used to behind the night crew guys. Yeah. So I was working that job, and I did McDonald's for like maybe a couple weeks. I was trying to juggle both, but I was like, fuck, the graveyard shift was just effing me up big time. So I quit the McDonald's job, but I was also in the process of getting hired at the Chula Vista Elementary School District as a sub-custodian. So here I am, 18 years old. I'm making like 25 cents, 50 cents over minimum wage. Minimum wage at that time was $4.25. I was making $5.80, so over $1 something. So I'm like, I'm good, you know. Yeah, I'm like, you know, I got this little chick that I've been with for years, little cutie, you know. I saved up my money in a year, and I got promoted. And at that time, Albertsons promoted by job merit, not seniority. So when Lucky's merged with Albertsons, I skipped all these people because I was a fucking kick-ass worker. It's really, and I'm not to tune. I mean, I was really good. I was fucking. You know, you told me yes. You say frog, I jump. You know what I mean? So here I am. I get promoted. I got $5,000 saved up in a year, and my dad was like, "Well, fuck," you know. I was like, "Time to get a car," and I go down to the lot. He's like, "Put whatever down, I'll match it." So if he matches what I put down, I get the badass F-150 of the year, 2000. Fucking, I mean, like almost top of the line before the Lariat, right? So I'm like 19 years old, badass ride, you know, top of the world, man, making good money. And I was making $9 at that time. Then went from 5 to 9. So I'm like $4 above, you know. So I'm like, you know, this life is good, right? I'm living at home. Then I get demoted. And so I got this car payment now, and I got no way to fucking pay because I went back down to the bagging wages. So I had some buddies that were in the coyote business, the human trafficking, and I would always tell them like, "Hey, let me cross some people over, man." This is before it was a federal slap, you know, it was a slap on the wrist. Yeah. So I was like, you know, I told him, "Hey, let me cross some people," and like, "Nah, you look too like your head, your style, like, you know what I mean, you're a burn."
Suspect.
Yes. You know? And so, dude, finally got to the point where like he needed someone bad. He's like, dude, he's like, I need you. So he dressed me up like these fucking aviator shades, this big old floppy hat. I look like a fucking Unabomber, right? And I go down there. I don't even know. I just go to the location, and the people get in. I don't know how many people I'm carrying. And I'm not even familiar with TJ, so my buddy's riding with me. Big mistake. Because when we get to the fucking port of entry, they're like, "So how long you in Mexico?" And I say one thing, he says another thing. Bam, right away, I'm fucking looking like the Unabomber. And they're like, "Pop the trunk." I'm like, fuck. So I pop the trunk, and fucking 4 people get out, and they fucking take me to secondary. They fucking throw me in the fucking holding tank. And, you know, like, but it was like a slap on the wrist though. You know what I mean?
I remember it used to be a slap on the wrist. My brother got molested and I just
Yeah, this was in like,
holdings.
this was in fuck 99? 99, 2000. Yeah. So they did. Let me go. Yeah. So then as far as work, I got transferred from the store that I was at. I got my position back to where I was making the $9 an hour again. And then a year later I got keys. So here I am. I'm 21 years old. I got a brand new car. I'm like topped out. Like I'm making what my dad's making an hour. What my dad's been making for the last 10 years. And man, you talk about like, now I look back, like my ego was just being fucking watered like a motherfucker. I thought I was untouchable. And with that position of power, right? I'm a fucking manager, key carrier. I guess I was all right looking because the ladies were attracted to it. That was just like another one of my drugs of choice was women, you know? And who can I get? What can I get? Where can I get it? If I can't get it here, I'm going to go there. Told myself I would never pay for it, you know what I mean? And ended up you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I ended up down in TJ, and you know, like they say, one is too many, 1,000 is never enough. Like, oh my God, like what? Like, are you serious? They come, like I can, whatever one I want, like, you know? So it's like, but then again, like, I was like, no, like Romeo, like I wasn't gonna come and sweep you off your feet. I mean, it was just like, I was always looking for that exterior validation. I want to be with someone, but I wasn't ready to commit. So So the relationships I were in were always toxic, or they were very deceiving, you know. So at this time, so I'm working for Albertsons, making money. So that's when my cocaine addiction started flaring up. Started using coke, because here I am, like I said, I got money, I'm making good money. I'm working the close-up shift. So where's the best place to go when you got a 8 ball of cocaine? Is either the stripper pole therapy or to the local watering hole to go find the drunkest chick that I can take advantage of, right? I mean, that's what I was doing. You know what I mean? And get shit faced, right? And then sometimes I would get shit faced and I'm like, wake up with nobody. I'm like, shit, it's time to go at it again, back to the drawing board. And it was just a cycle, you know what I mean? For years. I was always trying to, you know, fix somebody else. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, I wasn't okay with myself, right? Now today, like, well,
Yeah,
I'm okay with
I mean, I don't think we notice. I don't think we're aware of that at the time.
oh, hell no. And I say, like, I think my addiction for women came through my dad's plethora of Playboy subscriptions. Like, you know, it's like I was a little kid and it's like sneaking the next centerfold. Oh, you know what I mean? It kind of like engraved, like, oh, like, okay, like, I'm done with you. What's October got in store for? You know what I mean? Like I'm keep it real. Like that's what I believe. Like, am my son ever gonna catch wind of that shit? No, but I give him some life lessons though. I've taken him some places where people wouldn't necessarily say I should take a 9-year-old, but I do, because I tell him I'm very, very blunt with my son. You know, I don't hold nothing back. You know, so
So when did it start going downhill? Because you're still up here right now, like where you're partying.
oh yeah, so
With job still something.
the cocaine went on for about a decade. So from about 2000, 2000 to like, what, 2011? So about a decade, right? No, yeah. And so it was like coke, and I like it. So then I left Albertsons and I got in the plumbers union. So which is even, I was making even more money. I was making like really good money. But so I started using crystal when I met this nice young lady on the trolley, you know. She had a beautiful smile, nice pair of legs, and no eyebrows. And that's all it took. Yes, yeah, Mexican. So, and that woman is my son's mother. Well, was my son. Would end up being the mother of my son. And that was another thing right there. Like I was chasing the unicorn, dude. Like she did not want to be tied down. She was just too fast and too furious.
Are you done? Okay.
She was like, you know what I mean? I was trying to tame the untamed. And I was just persistent. I went through so much like demoralization within a relationship where like people were like, dude, like, what the fuck did you stick around for? I don't know. But I got a son out of it, like, you know I'm talking about, like, toxic. And at that time, I didn't understand either till like after, I got clean, was that like, dude, she had a past, right? And her past and all this trauma and shit. And like, dude, like I was, like things triggered her and she reacted in different ways. And it wasn't because of me, it was because of like what she had been through, right? So I met her, I was still using cocaine, but she kind of was like, hey, you know what, like, check this out. And then like, dude, like Crystal and me were like, I was like my aphrodisiac. Like, I was like, oh, dude, like, like everybody's doing this and everybody's doing that. So it was just like it's just like a big old fucking free for all, And with the women addiction, all that, the sexual addiction or whatever you want to call it, it just fed it. It's like, oh, So I think I used crystal in, I don't want to say functionally, but I mean, I did have a job. I did go to a job like for a while, but then like it started, the writing was on the wall, man. You know, here I am at fucking, 40 pounds underweight, sweating profusely at fucking 6 in the morning. The sun's not even out. You know what I mean? I'm fucking falling asleep at the freaking commercial bandsaw, industrial bandsaw. And, when it's time to like lay off, I was the first one. I couldn't understand why. It's like, and again, I was a good worker, but I wasn't reliable. I was not dependable. And I was a fucking safety liability like a motherfucker. So,
Once you got laid off, what happened?
so the went on with me and my son's mom, or at the time, like we were seeing each other, and then she ended up getting pregnant. And there was like some assumption that it wasn't mine. I was like, I don't want to have nothing to do with her. I was like, I'm not going to get sucked into this pregnancy that's not mine, right? So I fucking hit the door running, never looked back. And then like 11 months later, she freaking calls me on Google, freaking talk, and she's got the picture of this baby, this newborn. And I'm like, damn, that motherfucker looks like me, And, I couldn't, like at that time, I was so far like gone with addiction. Like I would do like odd jobs. I would get jobs. I had no problem getting jobs. Like my resume was like, boom. Oh yeah, we'll hire you. But I couldn't not stay clean, but I just couldn't, I wasn't dependable. You know what I mean? Like I was one of those guys that, like everybody, right? Well,
Drugs were running you.
yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, I was like, the only way I was gonna come down was like to, you fall asleep at the fucking drive-through, ordering a fucking milkshake because you need the fucking sugar. And I'm like nodding out at a drive-through. I'm like, oh fuck, dude, like, damn, man, I need to sleep, So by that time, meth had me by the balls, and you're talking about 2015. That's when I started smoking it. So I was like snorting it. Yeah, I was snorting it. And I was just doing like, it's like, oh, I don't want to get addicted. So I was like, I'm just going to do a little baby bump, right? And that shit would just be up for days, Then at that time, 2015, the union was trying to like get me out because they were like, we didn't get this motherfucker out of here because he just, those muchos. So in the process of doing that, I went back to college because I had college credits. So here I am, just started smoking meth. I'm enrolled in school, and like I'm really serious. Like I'm gonna do the damn thing. Like I'm with all these kids fresh out of high school. Like I was in this program that I was part of when I was in high school, and now I'm like, they nominate me to be their president and shit. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like the pressure got too much, and I ended up just never returning, And then, dude, I just nickel and dime tweaker, man.
So where's your turning point?
My turning point? Yeah. Okay. So
What is your last day or getting high and like what you were feeling? What's that look like?
So the turning point, so it took a series of events, right? So like during COVID, my son's mom there was a domestic violence, and there was an altercation where a child was endangered. So
Was you two or hers?
no, with her and her the guy that she was with at that time. Okay, so this is right before COVID. Okay, so she got a restraining order, all this bullshit with the court that she had for her, right? So when I showed up to court, and they were giving me like opportunity to have like get custody of him, they were like, well, Mr. Cosmesa, we need your drug test. And I was like, fuck you guys, like, it's not my case. So with that being said, it got worse for my son's mom. The guy she was dating was stalking her or whatever. She ended up bringing someone to the house that night, fornicating with her or whatever. And basically this dude tried to murder her and the guy. Now, coincidentally, my baby's mom was moving the night before. She had invited me to go to the house that night, but for some reason I didn't go. So when I got the call that weekend after that shit happened, she was like, "Hey, keep Joseph, because homeboy tried to kill me." So bam, they grant me freaking full temporary custody, but they want me to piss test. I'm like, dude, it's not my case, you know. And I thought, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have the last laugh, right? So they were persistent. We need you to drug test. Why don't you want a drug test? So I would abstain, and long story short, got to the point where COVID hit. Well, the baby's dad was not apprehended yet. So the one that tried to murder. So my son was in danger according to CPS. So this was during COVID, and they were like, "Hey, you need to bounce with your son," like, because homeboy knew where I lived. So they were like, "Hey, he's not safe here." But I had nowhere to go. No one wanted to take me in and my son because of like all the bullshit that came with it, right? So I basically had to give my son over to my baby's mom's other baby dad for them to take care of me. And that's where like the whole, dude, like I felt like a piece of shit, hopeless. And of course my baby's mom got clean, went to a program, and then she was like, dude, you need to get help. So I tried to get clean. The first time I tried to get clean was in 2020. Went to a rehab.
It's the first time ever?
Yes. Yeah, 20 years. Like I'm talking about, like I was a fucking professional, whatever you want to say. And and it's crazy because I never had a DUI. I've never done time, like, or been pulled over for anything like with substance abuse. Like I had no consequences, you know. So she was like, dude, go get help. So then I checked myself into detox, went to rehab, and then I manipulated my way out of treatment the first time. Went on a run for that year. And then, so that jumping off point, when you said the pivotal point was when they were about to terminate my parental rights. And so they did, because I wasn't showing up to visits and all that stuff. And so I went from like 50-50 custody to like mandatory 3 hours per week, supervised visits. And then, so my son's at 6 years old at this time. And he's like, Dad, I have nightmares. I'm not going to see you again. 5 years old. 5 years old. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I remember those words. Dad, but then as soon as I dropped them off, I'm over there hearing the pipe in the bathroom with the lights off, and I'm crying because I feel like such a piece of shit because I can't stop using. And I'm like, what am I going to tell this kid, dude? The dope and the women are just too much, too good, dude. Like, you know? So, and I remember, like, in those last 3 months of using, man, like, dude, I should have died, man. And I'm telling you, I ended up in some crazy ass spots, like, with some not good people, guns and shit, and like, that wasn't the life that I was accustomed to, you know. It was just a whole big party to me. But then when shit gets real, you know what I mean? When you're going to places because you gotta have it, and you're like, fuck, dude, like, god damn, like this is what I, you know. And so I knew it was time to go and get help again. So I reached out to the same treatment center, and I was like, yeah, I need to get clean, man. And they were like, keep calling us. And then coincidentally, they called me on my son's birthday, his 6th birthday, January 26, 2022. They're like, hey, we got a bed for you. They're like, and I was like, oh, a light bulb, right? Well, my new clean date. But I was like, fuck, I'm gonna fuck that up, right? Like, I already knew, like, if I made that my clean date, dude, they were like, you're coming in on the 1st. They're like, test clean on the 1st, you'll come straight to residential. And I was counting down, I was doing the math. I'm like, okay, I can get high till midnight on this fucking day. I'm getting high. I'm smoking. I'm fucking, you know what I mean? And like, so here I am. My son's telling me he used to have nightmares. He's not gonna see me no more. You know, I'm fucking supervised visits. My mom's taking me up to go see him from Chula Vista to San Marcos, and I mean, I'm just miserable. Like the whole ride home, I'm crying. I have my sunglasses on, and just no, hell no, no. You know, and so finally, I check back into I test clean on the 1st. And man, I called, you know, like I did what was suggested, right? Work a 12-step program, you know. I called the guy that asked to sponsor me previously, and he's like, yeah, I'll sponsor you. He's like, call me like you do them strawberries twice a day. And so I called him, you know, I took his suggestions, and I was just in so much denial, you know. It's crazy. So I'm here in treatment, and then I got into it with some resident, and I called him, right. Like, this motherfucker disrespected me. He's like, shut the fuck up, homie. He's like, ain't nobody owe you any respect. He's like, you don't even respect your motherfucking self. He's like, you're a 42-year-old, homeless, middle-aged man living in a men's inpatient residential treatment facility. Who the fuck owes you any respect, homie? And I was like, and he goes, you know, I said, my son, you know, I love my son. He said, how do you show it, motherfucker? I said, I tell him. You know, he's like, love's an action word. How do you show it being in a men's residential inpatient treatment facility? And I remember right there sitting on that porch in treatment and a tear rolling down the side of my cheek because it was fucking the absolute truth. No one ever had the balls to tell me. My mom, my dad, my cousins that said they loved me. This man that had no ties to, didn't know for less than a year, you know? So he started taking me through the steps of an anonymous program.
You never use again after that?
No. So my clean date is 2/1/22. Okay. I started getting busy, right? I started working my steps and doing that stuff that suggested of an anonymous program. And then, like when I left treatment, I told my mom, I was like, look I'm smoking dope in your bathroom. Like, all those women that come over are paid for. Like I was just like, let the cat out of the bag. Like, I didn't want to go back home. I was trying to like, cause that was like the root of the enabling, you know, like I wasn't a hustler. I didn't like, I just lie to my mom, like, hey, I'm gonna go get something to eat. But I put, you know what I mean? That was my hustled my mom, you know what I mean? Cause I knew I could get it. Until like the end of my using days, it was like, they were like, motherfucker, we ain't giving you shit no more, you know? But like I was just like, dude, it's crazy. Like 42-year-old, like just doing little odd jobs, dumping people's trash and shit for fucking bowls of dope. Like, you know, it was nothing exciting about my fucking addiction.
What about that story that you told me about at the convention about her son?
Oh, okay.
When did that happen?
So okay. So here I am. I do the 90 days in treatment.
And this was which one? This time?
Yeah, the second time.
Okay.
So I did the 90 days in treatment. And I was going to meetings, right? And there was a big pillar from one of the communities up there, the recovery communities. And he was like, hey, he's like, do you need a place to live when you leave here? I was like, yeah. So like, oh, bam, I got a place. Cause I didn't really want to go to sober living. I heard all the horror stories, people using. And like, dude, I was scared like I was going to use, you know? So I move in, had a job lined up and everything. So prior to me discharging from that facility, I had been trying to get a hold of my son's mother for like days, weeks. She wasn't answering. And so I was like, oh, I'll call my son's sister, you know. So it was 95 days clean. I just finished my first work week, and I'm about to go do the speaker meeting at the facility that I was coordinating. So I was down by the facility right there in Escondido, and I called my son's sister. And she's like, here, Joseph, your dad. I was like, hey, what's up, son? He was like, all happy, all stoked to hear from me. Hey, what's up? Laughing, giggling. I'm like, hey, I'm out the program. I can go see you now. And he's like, all right, dad, you know, it's just like giggling, like nothing. And then it's like, it just got silent. Like, I'm like, and I hear him like whimpering, you know. I'm like, what's wrong, son? He's like, my mom is dead. This is a 6-year-old telling me this. He's like, my mom is dead. And then I hear his sister in the background. She's like, it's true. She's dead. And then my first thing, knowing my baby's mom's history, it's like, there's probably something, like some kind of substance involved. My first thing right through my mind is like, dude, like fentanyl, right? Like, she probably did some dope that was laced with fentanyl. So I was like, don't touch anything. And here I am, I'm 5 miles away, but I have no transportation. I don't know the transit systems. And I told her, I said, don't touch anything. I'll be right there. And I remember like closing my eyes, man. I just felt like this fucking warmth come over me, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like I clearly remember, cause like a power greater than myself, right? Some kind of higher power. Something was like that warmth, cause it was like a sad time, right? A bad time, but then I knew right there, like, damn, like this is my shot. Like this is my shot to like to be that dad, you know. And then, remember, I told you when I was in that bathroom crying and hitting the pistol still. I remember that was my prayer. I was like, God, just let me be a dad. I just want to be a dad. I just want to be there for my son. So I ran back to treatment. There were some cottages next door, and there was this one gentleman by the name of Jason. And I was like, hey, I need a ride, man. I need a ride. We're like, please, I don't have anything to give you right now, but like, please get me to my son. I need to be there. So I'm on the phone, calling my mom, like, hey, because right now I'm on paper saying that I'm only allowed to see him supervise business. So my thought is like, dude, this guy's gonna hit the system and he's gonna go to Polinsky. Like, I gotta get there. My parents gotta get there. I gotta get someone to get him, because I know where he's going, right? So I jam over there, and I meet her sister's husband, and her best friend, her childhood best friend, where they were in foster care together. And they're crying, and you know, and I'm just like waiting, man. Like, you know, like it's a crime scene, you know.
So she's still there.
Yeah, she's at her apartment or her condo.
Real time. Like
Yes.
on the phone. And
Yes.
it's normal.
Yeah.
Switched.
Yes. Like
So she passed away when you were on the phone? Or
that's when so my son was home that day, 5 years old. He was suspended from school for some, I don't know what the fuck. She was watching her best friend, the one she was in foster care with, her toddler daughter and a newborn. So according to my son, that my baby's mom she was all good. She was like, you know, and then my son said they went to the room, they were playing, and then like next thing you know, he noticed her on the ground, but he just thought she was sleeping. You know? So I'm waiting outside, and then bam, like here comes the sheriff with my son, and they're wheeling down my son's mom in a gurney, white, you know, cloth over, and he's like, "Are you Joseph's father?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Take your son." And I look at her sister and her best friend, and I'm like, they know I'm a tweaker, you know what I mean? And I look at them, I'm like, and they're like, "Dude, you're clean." And like, that was it. Like, that was May 6, 2022. So it'll be 4 years in May. So I'll celebrate 4 years clean on the 1st. Man, like, talking about, like, it's crazy. Like, just like, if I wouldn't have called, the what ifs, right? Like, what if I wouldn't have called?
What if you didn't go to treatment? What if you didn't have 90 days?
You know, and I'm gonna say this in all honesty. Like, people like, they're like, do you think you would have stayed clean if she wouldn't die? I'm like, fuck no, I wouldn't have stayed clean. Fuck no, I wouldn't have stayed clean. But that was just enough, like the timing. And that's why, like I tell people when I go to treatment or I do H&Is, I'm like, look it, like, God might not plop your son or daughter in your lap 5 days after discharging, but that's the what if though. Like, if you have a significant other that's using still, dude, that's enough to get clean. Cause like, say they go out or something, like, you could be there, man. You could be there when you get that call or when you make that call, you know?
you don't know what's in store for you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like you never know. Like, you know, there's no guarantees, right? Like, man, I almost, like, when I share about it, I feel like I feel bad, like, you know, because like I hit the lotto, right? Like, I got my son with no freaking back pay child support. You know, it was just like boom. He was, yeah,
So he's 6 years old. You got 95 days clean.
95 days clean, and then bam, guess where I end up back? Mom and dad's. No, but I didn't want to go there because I was like, dude, like I come out my door, I was scared, man, because I didn't know if I was gonna be able to stay clean or not. I mean, you got, yeah, well, not only that, it's like I have dope accessible like across the street, like 5 houses down. The woman that I fraternized and did whatever with till all hours in the morning, like it was all there within like walking distance. You know what I'm saying? Um, how do I stay clean?
Started scratching and it looked like this. You got a sponsor and you started working. You sound like you've done some work on yourself because you're very honest about like.
Oh, it's like, I mean, it's crazy because like when I go into like H&Is and like how I introduce myself, I just come like how I introduce myself is like I come raw, like I don't hold back, right? And like people identify with that, right? When like the truth, they're like, oh, they come up and they like, you too, and I'm like, yeah, bro, like you know what I'm saying? Um,
But respect honesty.
yeah,
Something about it too that like just like draws your attention. I know that someone's being vulnerable.
yeah, and
No, it was ego too at that point in your life because you have to be far removed from it to know when your ego flares up because that's what really takes us out.
and that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, dude, like the women, man, like women will have me smoking the pipe before anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yes, I've tested the waters when I was clean, man. I went back to some old stomping grounds, try to, get a bone thrown at me from some woman. I'm 18 months clean, take her back to the mom and dad's, and pants come off and 2 sacks of dope. And the first question people ask me, did you do the damn thing? I'm like, fuck no, I didn't. I sent her on her way. Respectfully declined it. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, God. It was kind of like, it wasn't attractive to me anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was like before what would like get the hamster wheel turning. Now it's like, oh, it's like, you know, um, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like the honeymoon stage would it was good for like the first year. I mean, there's no complaints, right? I mean, I do bitch and complain, but it's temporary. That's just me. I mean, sometimes I mean that, or I just say like, man, I was ungrateful, or so like I was ungrateful for so long. It's like a habit, you know. I'm not one of these people that wakes up in the morning like, hey, I got my coffee and all chipper and shit. I'm I'm fucking grumpy, dude. And then, dude, like I wake up at like as I told my sponsor, tell me, he's like, dude, he's like you're miserable, but it's okay though if you're honest about it. Yes, I was miserable for like the first, dude, like 2 years. Because like, okay, I'm back at mom and dad's. I want to be on my own. I don't want to be there because I'm still carrying guilt and shame around. Right? Like I'm clean now. I don't need you guys' help, but I do. You know what I mean? Um, like I tried to apply for housing and they denied me because I was fucking honest. Because I said I wasn't homeless. They're like, I didn't want to drag my kid into like lying. So they're like, are you homeless? I'm like, whoa, I couch surf. And they're like, no, you're discarded. So I'm like, fuck. So I was pissed off at that. I'm probably pissed off because I'm fucking sharing a bed with the biggest cock blocker that I've ever known. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't.
So cute.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, damn, now I can't sneak, someone over and fucking, you know what I mean? Like, have my way or do whatever I'm gonna do. Like, all these things that I'm fucking accustomed to doing.
And you know what though? That's God working in your life that you're not aware of.
Yes, exactly. Rejection is God's protection. So, like, dude, like, man, where do I start, dude? Like, so can I backtrack for a little bit? Do we have time or what? Because I'm gonna get like, there's a lot of stuff like when I was in those last like months that I was using, there was like a lot of signs, God shots. I call them my sponsors, like, no, motherfucker, they're not God shots. Like, so I was working at this machine shop and there was this, it's called a boss, right? It's a circle and then there's a smaller circle on top of it, like a step, okay? So I loaded that piece in and it was gonna drill a slot or make a slot in it. So because I was tweaking and I was I double loaded that part, okay? my boss, my neighbor that got me the job, he came by and he looked at it and he's like, dude, a heart, bro? I'm like, what? So when I double loaded it, it made 2 slots, but the 2 slots were perfectly symmetrical, so it looked like a heart. So when he said that, he goes, really, dude, a heart? And and so like he took it and then he came back and he gave it to me. He said, that should have been scrapped, right? Like a scrap part is no good. But he gave it to me. And so I looked at it and I was like, damn, I was like, I'm looking for all these things to like validate my being, my purpose. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, that big circle's me, the little circle's my son, and that's the heart, right? Because like it's love. Like that's what that's the purpose intended, right? So like there's things like that. And so on that birthday that I got the call from treatment that, so dude, I'm like a Padres fan, right? I was born and raised in San Diego. I wouldn't dress my son in anything but Padres, right? So the day I show up to pick him up, he's wearing an Angels baseball pullover. You know what I'm saying? And then like, you know what I mean? But then like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like when I was on the streets, like, oh, Southsider, we only wear blue and that, right? It was red. So like, I was never like a fond of the color red for whatever reason, right? And so like, I'm like, dude, I definitely wouldn't have put Angels because they're from LA, you know? And I definitely wouldn't have put them in red, and they're not the fucking Padres. So why? So like, right? I was like, dude, like that's my, you know? And so like baseball has a big significance in my getting team, because so another time when I was right there, like all this crazy shit was happening, I ran into my boy that I played Little League with. And he was all fucked up. And this dude was like always creased up, always dressed nice. He had no shirt on. And I remember I go, hey, are you okay? How are you doing? And before he could even answer, I was like, you can't be doing good because you don't have a shirt on. I do, and I'm doing bad. You know? And he's like, he started like, he's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, I remember when we used to play baseball? He's like, yeah. I said, don't you wish you could go back to those days? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I sucked at baseball. I go, dude, we suck at life, bro. But I said, all we had to do was strap up our cleats and throw that motherfucking ball. That's it. So like, I was a season ticket holder of the Padres before my addiction was fully like, went into like fucking rage mode. So like when I got clean, I was like, I'm gonna get my season tickets back. Right? So I got my season tickets back. Me and my son have traveled to 7 different ballparks to watch the Padres play.
Really?
Yeah, and if there's any baseball fans out there, dude, me and my son witnessed fucking Dylan Cease throw the 100, I think it's that 184th no-hitter in fucking Major League Baseball history. That's like fucking epic. And we saw the home team throw it, and it was in Washington, D.C. I mean, like, took my son on a 10-day cruise through customs with his fucking passport. I mean, you're talking about a dolphin dad that had 3-hour supervised visits. I'm taking him to fucking the Eastern Caribbean through customs with like nobody fucking scrutinizing me or like putting me through secondary or questioning. I'm not worried about anything, you know what I mean? And like, dude, things are good. Like I'm on his birth certificate now. Like that was a big achievement. I got it because I wasn't there when he was born. So I'm on his birth certificate now. All his silver teeth are fucking, he's got like no cavities when we go to the dentist. Like those are victories that I celebrate. Like that's shit that I'm proud of. Like fuck yeah, dude, you ain't got no, you know what I mean?
It's the hardest thing right now for me.
Like no cavities, and he does eat cavity, and I tell him, I go, look, bro, like, you know, it's just trying to be better than I was raised. I'm trying to not saying my parents did a bad job, but like I have the ability to do that now, you know? Like to be there for my son, like the first 2 years, he hasn't really broke down lately, but there will be times I put him in therapy. Like that was something that I would never, fuck, you ain't going to therapy. You're fucking, you know what I mean? But I was using these tools or these, you know, with the county, Medi-Cal, all these resources that were ready, available for this 6-year-old boy, not me, 6-year-old boy that lost his mother. And then like after his first round of therapy, like a couple months later, he's like, hey, Dad, he goes, I need therapy again. He's like 7 at the time. I'm like, for what? He's like, Dad, my mom died. I'm always gonna miss her. And then, and so then I'm like on the phone, and my son needs services again, right? Like to be there at night when like I see him staring off and I know, I'm like, what's up, dude? And he's like, I miss Mom, Dad. He's like, and like he cries to me. He's like, Dad, and I'm trying to teach him like not to hate God or feel like he's a victim. And if anyone makes any, fat mom jokes, to like, my first thought is like, fuck him up, right? But then I'm like, dude, dude, like they don't know, bro. You know what I mean? Like use that anger to something good. He's a pretty good soccer player. Like that was his first sport I put him into, and he's playing like at the highest level for his age group right now. So I'm talking about like out of San Diego County, he's playing like with the top kids his age, and it's been like a blessing to see him grow, and for me to be able to like teach him like you got to work hard and to be on time and
How do you stay clean today? What do you do?
oh man, the simple things, man. Like I still keep in contact with my sponsor. um I got complacent with my steps. I haven't finished my steps, you know what I mean? But I'm like on step 11 right now, right? And it took me a long time because there was times where like I didn't feel like I owed anybody in amends. Like I'm clean now. I thought like all the shit that I did to my parents was like a credit write-off. It's gone in 7 years. You know what I mean? Like I don't owe you a fucking amends. But then my sponsor's like, I'm gonna teach you how to apologize with your balls, man. You know what I mean? And like this is what it looks like. And not just I'm sorry, but like what's the behavior? What's this, right? Identifying the behavior, the defect, and all that stuff that comes along with, you know. So I go to meetings, not as much as I used to. I was a full 5-day a week meeting kind of guy. And then life got lifey, right? Life got lifey with my son's sports. And so that was the excuse to not go to so many meetings, right? And then I'm constantly reminded by that sponsor, like, hey, remember, don't let the gifts of the program get in the way of your program. And
100%. That's so important.
so I dude, I got a small support group. But they're solid. And yeah, like I just those simple things, right? Be of service. Answer the phone as soon as it's not about me. Because there's times where I see someone call, I'm like, I don't want to talk. I just don't want to talk. But then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm afraid it ain't about you. You know what I mean? What does God want you to do, right? They say, right? What is his will, not my will. Thy will be done, not mine. And I do H&I panels, man. I think the H&I panels are like the bee's knees, going there, especially men's, because I can get in there and I can talk about stuff you don't share about at a mixed meeting,
Are you in God's will, do you think?
Am I in God's will? Most of the time, yes. Most of the time, yes. But right, I was in. No, so check this out. So like, since I've been clean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, I fraternized with a couple females. I went through some shit that my sponsor was like, I had a secretary position at a meeting, and there's, something presented itself when I told my sponsor what was going on. He's like, dump that commitment now. Go to men's meetings and men's meetings only. And I was like, why? He's like, dude, just trust me, listen to me. And then after he explained, he goes, look, you were showing some behaviors that I went through that almost took me out. You don't need to go through shit that. Messing around with women, like, you know what I mean? Like not being I guess readily, like emotionally ready to take the rejection, or like when the fun's done, right? When it's like a dope, right? When you run out, what do? You know what I mean? Some people can't, or how much we can actor, like I wasn't able to do that a lot of the time. And that's what kept me in these toxic relationships and like always thinking like I wasn't good enough, right? It was, oh, it's not, it's me, it's me, it's me. No, so it was just, it was presenting itself that it could be on, I could be on dangerous grounds because just past history, But I mean, I shared a 4-step with him, right? So like when I shared that with him, he was like, "Damn, like I let the cat out the bag, I shared everything because he told me if I didn't, I would drink again. You know what I mean, or use again. Um, but I mean, like I'm saying, life has not been like it's hard dealing with the son, being on my own, trying to find that fine median, like the mama bear, but then being authoritative. I've done some things too, like I'm saying, I was miserable for a long time. So there was times where I'd come home and I didn't know what to do. I had no coping skills. So what did I do? I kicked the dog, right? Took it out on my son. You know what I mean? I did some things that I said I would never do, clean. And here I am showing these emotions. I'm not, you know, mostly sound, you know. It's hard, man. It's hard. And then like this guy, he's got the attitude matches the hairstyle. He's got the mullet, but then he's like, my sponsor told me, wait till his little nuts drop, like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, and he's over here like testing the waters but I mean, dude, like he's like everybody knows him, man. You know what I mean? They're like he's got a freaking personality. He's funny, man. Like, so check this out. Like, for recovery has done me, because he's gone on a lot of meetings, right? This is the cool shit that I get to see as a parent, and like he says stuff like this, like because I always thought like having like a cool job was like what I needed to like, oh, like my dad has a cool job, he fucking does this and X, Y, and Z. I don't have the fucking dream job that I want right now. I got that job because I fucking took him to soccer practice on time. One of the dads was like, hey, you need a job? Boom, you take your son to practice on time every day here. And I fucking been there for the last 2 years, and they're about to like bump me up in pay raise right now and all this good stuff. But like, remember one day my son was like, Dad, he's like, you're a hero. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, do you save people's lives? Because like he hears like the context of the conversations, like he hears like the recovery. Like when I was sponsoring a couple guys, I would be like, look at it, dude, because he likes to reject the calls. I'm like, look, dude, if this dude calls right here, and so like, but I told him about anonymity, right? So like one day we're in the car and he's like, Dad, he's like, and then we're in the car, right? And like the people, they're not in the program, they're like that we're with, they don't understand what's going on. And so I'm talking to, it's a 12-step, it's a 12-step call, and this dude's calling me, he's asking me for like, and I'm talking to him, but they're kind of their conversation, and Joe's like, hey, he's like, my dad's trying to save someone's life. And and dude, he'll be the first one to tell me, Dad, you haven't been in a meeting in a while. Like, let's go. Hell yeah. He's like, Dad, he's like, you haven't been in a meeting in a while. And then like too, like there was a couple females that I was entertaining. I mean, like, man, I'm not gonna like, right? That's my thing. I had a trick account, you know what I mean? I like to take care of women that don't deserve. Oh my gosh. So he knew this chick, he caught wind of this chick trying to, like, you know what I mean? She was extracting me, she was extorting me for money. And so one day I was gonna try to slip off and go, like, you mean, like kick it with her. And he's like, Dad, he's like, I gotta go with you. He's like, dude, I can't trust you around these women. And I'm like, what the fuck, motherfucker? Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, what are you talking about? And so like the other day, he was at a soccer game and one of his colleagues fucking swung on him. And like my first thing was like, dude, fuck that motherfucker up, dude. Like swing back on him. That's my default, right? Was go, you know what I mean? And I'm over here trying to freaking proposition him to fight this kid, And I'm like, dude, hey, bro, you've been at the boxing gym, homie, combos. Light him up. And he's like, that's not what he wants to, how he wants to live. So later on that night, I'm like, hey, so did you and homeboy kiss and make up or what? He's like, yeah. He's like, I apologized to him, Dad. He's like, what steps did I do? And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like he's been doing enough meetings till we're like, Like,
We have the program too.
yeah, you know, like people will say like, oh, he's got a program. My sponsor, he's like, he doesn't got a program. He's not an addict. But but he's but he's learning like the principles, right? And like, dude, like it's crazy because like one of my closest homeboys, he's like every time like he's like says something, he's like, man, he's like, I get to see you grow up with like you guys are growing up at the same time, you know? Cause I mean, dude, like I was irresponsible for so long, man. You're talking about 2 decades, 2.5 decades of just running from my responsibilities.
So
You know?
what's some advice then you would give someone who's struggling, or maybe some younger people?
Man, bro. Dude, authenticity is like the key, man. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself, man, you know? Cause like it takes a lot of courage to be yourself, you know? Um, don't give up hope. Um, you know, and just love yourself, man. Give yourself a chance, man, you know? Try something like they say, man, try it for a year. If you don't like it, you have your misery refunded to you, you know? Um, yeah, man, like there's just so many like it's a network, right? Like it's just like when we were out there using, drinking, and drugging, we always had the plug, we always had the connects, right? We knew people like the same thing. You come to recovery, man, you go out there and you share, you tell people what you're going through, you be vulnerable, allow, you know, you if you stay open-minded and you're willing to be vulnerable, someone's gonna reach out, man. Someone's gonna see you, someone's gonna recognize you. If you keep being persistent, if you show up to those meetings and they see you, someone's gonna talk. I mean, you know, someone's gonna talk to you. It's not. I mean, you got to put in effort, right? Someone's gonna come up to you and like, hey, but you got to talk about it. You got to be honest, man. You know, closed mouths don't get fed. Um, you know, and dude, like, yeah, man, stay out of relationships, man.
That's a good one.
You know,
Is this, do we need to timestamp this so we can show it to you every once in a while?
no, why? No, oh, you mean for that? So well, like I always say like the P, the women's thing, P places and things that will take a motherfucker out, man. Or for the women, the penis places and things. No, I mean serious, like,
It was a sober living, that's the worst. When somebody's like, I got a boyfriend, I'm like, oh, here we go.
cause dude, I mean, like that was
We're all broke. You know what I mean?
yes, but I mean, like if that's what you're used to, like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, like that's what like that's like that's the common denominator, man. Like boom, like how can I like people want the sex, but then the link between the sex is like the drug, man, And that's why like since I've been clean, like I haven't been in a relationship, So I haven't been in a relationship. Like I said, I've had some friends that, and you know what? I was honest. Honesty is like the best thing. And dude, guys, if you want to attract women, dude, be responsible. Like I've gotten hit on more now, being responsible and being a good dad. Like that's attractive to women, man. Like you're gonna attract the
right woman.
yes. But I'm not like people like them in the rooms are like, dude, how do you do it, bro? Like you don't want to go on a date. I'm like, dude, I spent all my time chasing tail when my addiction, the first 6 years of my son's, that's all that was more important than buying diapers. Like I had a frequent flyer miles and back page, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I had a trick account, man. Like, like diapers for my son or a hotel and a prostitute, You know what I mean?
Let's end this on something positive.
Okay.
What's the most important thing we've learned? I mean, it sounds like it drove up a lot over the last few years.
The most important thing I've learned?
Could be being a dad. It could be, yourself. I'm not sure what that looks like.
The most important thing I've learned, dude, I'm just being honest, dude. Like, if you're honest, dude, like they say, the truth will set you free, bro. Like, it's hard to be honest. Like, it's hard to hold yourself accountable for making mistakes. Like today at work, I had to freaking tell my boss, like, dude, you know what? I had a hand in this. There's a big old, like, there might be a recall, field recall. And I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of shit that I could have prevented if I wouldn't have cut corners. I had to admit that today. Like, hey, you know what? I had a hand in this also. But like, dude, like people respect that shit. Like if you can say like, hey, I'm human, and some people might, I mean, you might get this, you know, dismissed. But knowing that I did the right thing and that I could sleep at night, not trying to fucking run away from that shit, is like, it's like, dude, like a weight off your shoulders, dude. You know?